7:02, and I call this special call board meeting to order. Dr. Salazar, can you lead us with the pledge, please?
Certainly.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Trevino, can you do roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Leonel Garza,
Present.
Ms. Sandra Garcia,
Present.
I am here. Mr. Ruben Trevino, Mr. Martin Castillo,
Present.
Mr. Ray Farias is not here with us tonight. Mr. Jesus Amaya,
Present.
Ms. Leticia Quintero,
Present.
Dr. Gonzalo Salazar,
Present.
Ms. Elizabeth Neely.
Okay, moving on to item 5. Under 1, consideration and possible action regarding the adoption of resolution and other possible action to oppose and prevent possible legislation supported by Brownsville ISD concerning annexation and taking of Los Fresnos CISD territories and property outside of Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code procedures. I realize that we have quite a few of you here, so it is a concern that we all have. And it seems like we have all, at least I would think, we all have taken it personal. And we find it that it's really insulting and offensive that they feel, another school district feels that let's just take it and then just undo the boundaries, even if they don't agree. We all feel the same way. A lot of us have families that have been here way before the school district even came to fruition. Our families have been here a long time. I know of a lot of families, the Moses, the Milams, Gonzalez's, and there's a ton of people that have been here a while. And it's a situation that, you know, we're going to discuss it and in open session when we come back from executive session. And so we're going to leave that until we come back, because I think it's something that needs to be done as far as a resolution. We already have a rough draft. We're going to finalize it before we come out here, and we will read the resolution for the whole, all of you all to hear. But before we go into executive session, I think we need to hear from the public audience. Under, if I may, I'm going to number 2, public audience, comments and statements to the board. We have 5 people that have signed up. Yes. I have this script that I need to read. Statement for introducing public comment. The board encourages comments from the citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that comments pertaining to public education issues and be no longer than 5 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda for tonight's meeting. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during the meeting. In addition, The board has adopted a complaint policies that are designed to secure at lowest administration level a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. Complaints brought by students or other parents may be heard in accordance with policies FNG legal and FNG local by employees in accordance with the policies DGBA legal and DGBA local, and citizens in accordance with policy GF local. Each of these processes provides that if a resolution cannot be achieved administratively, the person may appeal the administration decision to the board as a properly posted agenda item. This comes from our TASB regulations. At this time, we will ask for Nelly Garcia, please. Can you come up to the dais? Yes, I will have Mr. Castillo put the time, and we have 5 minutes. Okay, ma'am? Thank you.
Hello, good night. My name is Nelly Garcia. I am a resident from Olmito. I've been living here in the Fresnos School District since 1986. My kids are attending one of the schools in Olmito, Villarreal Elementary. All my 3 children were one is attending there, and there are 3 already in high school and middle school. And my concern is from all the parents that I've been talking to. As here per se, we're worried because we heard that the Los Fresnos has like pawned or loaned that territory from Brownsville, and it was not paid out. That's why they were taking the property. As I said and discussed, I will bring it up just to confirm, right, that is not the issue that we're facing. It's facing that we don't want to belong to a district that, in my personal opinion, it's unknown to our children. All our kids are familiar with all their teachers, and as a parent, I appreciate all what the school district does for our kids, right? We are very grateful for the programs that you provide for special ed kids, as I have one. And what therapy has not done for my kids, his pre-K teacher from that school did for my child. He learned how to read, write, and talk in a year of the school year that he started on pre-K. What he did 3 years in therapy was not accomplished. And I have saying that for the entire time. I'm very proud to be a Mighty Falcon from Los Fresnos. And as a parent and as the other parents, we'll be with you supporting. We'll be collecting signatures as well. Another parent she's very active on this. Her name is Brenda. She's attending here too. And we were discussing this, that we care for our district because our district has done everything for our children. The teachers are committed. This district has the best programs to keep our children interested on joining to be part of this school, like the after-school programs, chess, robotics. Villarreal Elementary has won, not once, but 3 times already, national championships. And you're talking about kids 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 4th grade. And they're if you see their faces of enthusiasm, every day they attend to the school. And now since they heard about this news, my daughter, she's attending LSU. She's concerned, and she's like, Mom, I really don't want to be part of BISD. I am a Falcon. And my little boy is like, I'm a Hawk from Villarreal. I don't want to be somebody else's. And they're worried, and it's very sad to see their faces because they're little kids. They're supposed to be enjoying, right? But times changes, and they're more already involved due to the media. They have so much access to every information that is accessible. And we're all just asking for you as our representative, right? We elected you to represent us, to be our voice, that not to let this to happen, right? I know there's some things that you need to work with, and that you need to see a way to keep our children to belong to this district. Because I'm very proud to belong to this district. I'm very proud. And I've been arguing with people and saying you cannot talk otherwise about Los Fresnos district because they're always being there for our children's education. Every little step. If there's no kid left behind. And from other parents that have their kids attending the Brownsville schools, they say otherwise. Even the pediatrician from my kids said, you know what? Your district has the most complete evaluation for me that he asked me for evaluation for the special ed kids that the school provides. And he said, I have never seen in my life such a detailed report of your kid's development. And I have seen BISD's reports, and I only can say, I quote what he said, that's awful, awful. And I want you to tell the teacher, to the counselor, to the therapist that is taking care of your kid that they're doing an amazing job. And congratulate your school district because I have seen nothing like this ever in my life for these 30 years that I've been practicing as a pediatrician for kids. And that says a lot from our district, especially from a professional that is that pediatrician. And all I have to say is please work with us, and we will work with you. Solve this matter in our favor because our children are dependent on this. And I don't want to see those faces to be sad. And receiving a bad notice that they belong to some other district that is not going to take care of us, of them and us, and our teachers too, as well as this district has done for them.
Thank you for those kind words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
James Editor.
I wasn't aware I was going to speak, but since I'm here, the only thing I'm going to say is okay, thank you. Some situations require the likes of Mother Teresa to take hold and take action. Other situations require Jack the Ripper. I'm for Jack the Ripper in this situation. The main villains we know is the Brownsville School District. The enabler of Brownsville School District is Eddie Lucia. And that's, I think, what we need to focus on. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Patricia Anderson. Patrick, I'm so sorry. I got old eyes. Okay, I'm sorry. Patrick Anderson. I really apologize, sir.
No, that's quite all right. Good evening, board, and happy holidays to everyone. I went to the policy meeting and the BSD board meeting last week, so I just maybe wanted to provide some observations from the meeting last week, and maybe some factors that are playing into this and some things to maybe keep in mind. The first one, I guess, I'm not going to say much about, but are some speculations and maybe even conspiracy theories, if you will, about regarding some outside influences that are influencing this move by BISD. Beyond that, I'm not going to say anything. If you're curious at all, you can speak to me off the record privately if you want to hear about some conspiracy theories. But the second thing to keep in mind is who's proposing and who brought forth this resolution, and that's Phil Cowan. And I think we all know that he's very well aware of the laws, and yet he's proposing this. And it's also important to note kind of the push to make this an expedited process, and the adamance of the president to push this forward. And they know the laws, they know the process. So I think it's important to note that they want to go straight to the top with this without consultation of Los Fresnos or Puerto Isabel. So I think that's important to keep in mind with this. The third thing is kind of our state reps right now. Lucio, who is very much, as just mentioned, is very much a representative of Brownsville. But I think it's also to keep in mind, I could be wrong about this, but I think wasn't he the one who proposed the Cameron County-wide district? So I think that's maybe kind of a narrative we want to keep in the back of our heads right now. And then our newly elected Alex Dominguez. I guess on a personal note, I find that a little worrisome because he's not kind of known for representing his constituency. I think probably the most notable is the Radle Trail project. Very much went about that very much opposite of his constituency. So I think maybe that's something to keep in the back of our heads, kind of his history with regards to representing at the county level. So I guess all that to say this, and I don't necessarily want to speak for the community, but as someone that kind of is involved in local issues, particularly with environmental issues, and has spoken with a lot of the community, I think it's safe to say that the community would definitely be supporting you and would be right in step with you in addressing this and responding this with a swift and strong and very direct response to BISD. And I think that's I think maybe that's probably what our community wants, because I think that's what's going to take, given the approach that they've proposed to this, and then the way that they've tried to go about this. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I get this one right. Daniel Aguirre.
Good afternoon, members of the board, President Leonel Garza, Superintendent Gonzalo Salazar. I'm kind of a little bit nervous, but I'll get over it. The reason is I would like to address is that it is very important that people go out there and vote. Very important, because sometimes legislation comes out of there, and if you're not aware, and it's in the ballot. Sometimes some of those are loopholes that come out, and then they use them, you know, to do things that you might not think it can happen, and it will happen. So it is very important to inform the voter as to what's out there, so schools can, like this school that's #1, can be safe from some predators, you know, and that's basically what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Daniel Skanes.
Good evening. I think most of us read the article, and I think that's what prompted a lot of us to come in. My thing was, when I read the article, I tried to make as many phone calls as I could. I reached out to Senator Eddie Lucio Jr.'s office. They're closed until January 2nd, so no one can get a hold of them. Supposedly, they're checking their voicemails, but I don't have any confidence in that. What worries me is that they're trying to get this in. Right now, it's a proposal. It's just an idea, and we understand they're not actually doing it already, but they're trying to get it done before the end of the year, and we can't get a hold of the supporting office or the ones who are kind of involved with it, which is our Senator, Eddie Lucio Jr. I spoke to a Mr. Omar Garcia. He's in Mr. Eddie Lucio III's office, our House of Representatives representative. I was told that his office vehemently rejects the idea of this. They're completely and totally against it. So I think I speak for most of us. We support you guys, you know, and we voted you guys in. As long as you let us know what you need of us, we'll answer that call. If you need us to sign petitions, we'll sign petitions. If you need us to come and have formal, informal votes, come to these meetings, you know, as long as the information is disseminated properly, I know that I think 99% of us will answer that call. I live over in Los Vecinos, and so I'm right in that area that's being called to be affected by this. And, you know, I have young kids, and I think as parents, you know, we put a bigger hope on our kids' future. And I've dealt with BISD in the past, and I specifically moved out here to this area because of BISD, because I didn't want my children to be plagued by the issues that BISD has. And I have a lot of friends who are also teachers in Los Fresnos, and they're saying, well, this is going to affect me, and what am I going to do? I'm going to have to move schools, and my whole life's going to change. So, I just ask that as we go through this process and we get closer to when this becomes a voting issue, because right now it's this idea, it's a proposal, and they want to push forward because, of course, they want to take hold of all the hard work that our school district has done to put these schools together, to make them work properly. Whatever you guys need, just keep us informed and let us know what you need of us. We trust you guys. Wholeheartedly, we trust you. I've never had any issues with the school district. Yes, my kids are young, and my oldest is 8, and she's in 3rd grade. And so, like some of these parents, they have high schoolers, and I know that they most likely feel the same way, where they haven't had these issues that other parents probably constantly complain about, and that I've dealt with when my kid was in kindergarten. Starting at that young of an age, I was dealing with issues with BISD, and I haven't had any here. And so I do want to thank you guys for calling this meeting and opening it up to the public. I ask that you guys please keep us in the loop.
Thank you so much, sir. It's quite encouraging to hear all the words that is coming from the community. We're going to go into executive session. If you can just indulge us for a little bit. We're not going to be in there very long. We're going to just get our wording right for our resolution and get our motion correct. And then we're going to come back out here. We'll request for a motion, and I'll get a second. Then we're going to have discussion. Then you'll probably hear a lot of board members discuss where we are and what we're going to do. And if the motion does pass, then at the end I will read the resolution of what is expected of us and what we expect from our proud district and united community. I see that sign every time, and so it's very encouraging to hear all of y'all. But if y'all can enjoy, we'll be back in just a few minutes, okay? It is 7:25, and we're going to go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code for to consult with legal. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Sorry, it's 7:50. We're back in session, open session, and we are at Roman numeral 7. Consider impossible action regarding items discussed in executive session. Okay. Believe I asked for a motion at this time, right, Elizabeth? Do I have a motion? Mr. Castillo.
Mr. President, I move to approve resolution to object to Bronzeville ISD's attempt to secure an legislative action that would redraw Los Fresnos CISD attendant zones and property, and to prevent a taking of Los Fresnos CISD territory that was purchased and improved by the district through taxpayer dollars, and as a result of bonds approved by the citizens. Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code has set out the legal means to detach and annex territory. Such legislation would circumvene the processes outlined in the Texas Education Code, would displace students in the district attendance zones. I further authorize the superintendent or his designee to work with state legislators on our legal counsel, hire consultants, and to take such actions necessary on behalf of the Board of Trustees to object and nullify any such proposed legislation or attempt to detach and annex Los Fresnos CISD territory.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Ms. Garcia seconds that. Discussion. Okay, I'll go first. After listening to the community and as far as the board members, all of us, it's a concern, and we're ready to, basically, we're going to object to all of this because it's just going to create a lot of dysfunction or whatever you want to call it, because I don't really believe that they thought it out as far as what this is going to cost. It's about, 43% of our tax base, which means that our district will lose over $10 million. It means our property owners would go from 119 to 126 and a half cents. So, they don't take that into consideration. As far as our students that are involved in everything here at Los Fresnos, as far as UIL, as far as everything that is going to disrupt everything. And the loss of school employees. Right now, that's why a lot of the school employees, they're wondering what's going to happen to us. What is we've been waiting for them to approach us. This is what we want to do, why we want to do it. We don't even know why. And how the compensation is going to be worked out. There's 2 schools in this area that were built by the taxpayer because they were both built on bond. And Olmito came into the fold with us in the late 60s, 1960s. Brownsville is still Brownsville ISD, which means Independent School District. Los Fresnos is CISD, Consolidated Independent School District. We took, at that time, Olmito, we took the Las Yescas kids, all those kids. Nobody else wanted them. We took them in. And we strived to educate those kids. We go get them. We go get them all the way to Arroyo City. We put a lot of cost, a lot of work at educating our students. We do well, not by luck, because we work at it. Our instructors are exemplary instructors, and they work at it. We do well. And then just because they want to, I want to move my fence line to your property because your trees are a lot better than mine. I want to get the shade or so. It's hard to comprehend how they want to do this and the process of doing it. If you don't agree, we'll just take it. Well, it just don't quite work like that. So yes, we are going to do a resolution, or we've already got a draft, and we're going to propose it to the people that need to be told and worked with. And if we have obstacles, we're going to take them one at a time. But if anything happens, I will guarantee you, we're going to go fighting on our feet. We're not going to go to our knees to anybody. We're going to go down. If we go down, we're all going to be on our feet. And we're going to, I can guarantee you that whatever means we need to do, we've got extremely good legal. Been with us for 13 years. We have a lot of confidence in our legal that we have here for Los Fresnos. They sure make all of us sleep well, but I can tell you this is what we're going to do. What is coming down the road, we realize that it's going to be some obstacles, but we're going to prepare for it. We're not going to, by any chance, let any of y'all down by it, because we know it's important for our kids, and we strive to educate all of them. and I believe we do. And be sure we get all the blueberries. We get them all. So, another thing that this could be a downfall and probably a plus for them. We'd lose 3 elected officials, school board members. And I'm serious as heart. 3 of them live in that area they're talking about. So what happens to our elected officials? You know, and that's something to think about. What do we have to do? We've got to elect 3 more, let them move in. There's no exception to the rule, I guess. But it's something that needs to be thought out, and we're going to prepare ourselves for this. It's going to be, I feel we're going to get there. Let me put it this way. Anybody want to say anything? Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Essa. I made reference to this during our policy meeting, and just from the onset, I am in favor of the resolution. But hearing to the people that spoke, hearing to them, in my mind, when this all started going, it was my perspective, but hearing their perspective from the parents, and one of the parents made reference to, I have friends that teach there, and they're worried. And one of the parents said, my kids are worried. We don't want to be part of anybody else. That changed my perspective completely. I was thinking about how can they do this? Why would they do this? But hearing that, I hadn't even seen that. Even though we live in the Los Fresnos School District, my grandkids were not going to be affected by this particular action. But hearing y'all, I was lucky enough this afternoon, and lucky enough, however you want to call it. I've known Senator Lucio we worked together in BISD. I used to work at BISD for 13 years, and I cherish those times. It was good. BISD's got a lot of good teachers and a lot of good schools, but we're Los Fresnos. And I know that sometimes people, when we say that, people think that we're a little arrogant. I don't feel it. We feel that we're special. Our kids feel that we're special. Our parents are special. So I want to try to alleviate or share a little bit of my conversation this afternoon. And I got permission from our chair and from our superintendent to speak to him when I found out that he wanted to speak to me. Your calls have apparently made a big difference. And I think that because our conversation right away, he kept saying, "Jesus, you know the law." I said, "Yes, Senator." And I just kept saying, "Yes, Senator, yes, Senator." And then at one point in our conversation, I said, "Senator, I would like to tell the people tonight that I feel confident that the people that represent us will follow the law, will follow the TEA law and go by that." He says, "Use my name. You can say." I said, I don't want to misquote what you're telling me. He says, "You can use my name." So compared to where we were 2 weeks ago or last week, I want to make sure that we have some holidays here. I feel confident that the people that are representing us right now are willing to follow the law. Does that mean our challenges are gone? No, absolutely not. And we have to keep our guard up. We have to be ready. We have to meet an action with an action, and I think that that's hopefully what the board will see tonight and vote on that. But for the people that are worried that, Santa's coming Christmas Eve and on New Year's something else might happen, and instead of being a hawk, I might be something else, just bear with us. I do feel confident that the 3 people that represent our representatives right now are willing to follow the law. I don't think I would have said that yesterday, but I feel better today. And we need people to feel better today. But it's because of your passion. It's not because of anything that we did, and it's usually never because of something we do. It's what our kids do and what our parents do. And as we go out and continue to say why Los Fresnos is good, I think that we should focus on that. We all said what Los Fresnos is good. Many of us are products of Los Fresnos, or our kids are, our grandkids are, or all of it. There's 3 or 4 generations, and we focus on that so others can see that instead of some things that other groups may not be able to say. I don't think we're arrogant. I think that we feel we're special, and I think others need to see that, and our representatives need to continue to see that, because I think y'all are the ones that are making the difference right now. But I really felt after hearing them, they need to know this, because I don't want people worried over the Christmas holidays that something might be imminent. I don't think anything's imminent. Hopefully we do the right hopefully we pass the resolution tonight and go from there. But y'all are what makes a difference. It's certainly not that. So thank you for your support, and we will continue to follow what you tell us to do.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Garcia.
I also want to thank the public. You did make a big difference. It was heartbreaking to hear that the kids were worried. That's tough. That's really hard. And I mean, it's up to you to make them feel comfortable. So we need to make you all feel comfortable. But we're totally against this. I want to make sure everybody understands that. But I also want to thank administration, because one thing about administration is they're never asleep at the wheel. We knew that this was going to be on their agenda because somebody in administration is looking at everybody's agendas. We knew it was a possibility, so I want to applaud administration for keeping us abreast of everything, and we'll continue to pass that kind of information on to the public so that we stay on top of it, because like Mr. Amaya said, we've been told things, and we hope that, you know, that we do have the support that they have promised, but we still, as parents, need to be vigilant, and we need to stay on top of it. So we will. We'll do that, and we'll be sure that we get any kind of information to you, because I love to hear that you all are willing to get out there and get the petition signed, and all that really does help. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Anybody else? Mr. Trevino?
Just a quick word. I do want to thank the public for coming out, and I really appreciate the kind words that you spoke of our district. We work really, really hard as a board, and I can assure each and every one of you here tonight that this board is very proactive, and I want to echo Ms. Garcia's sentiments in regards to administration, because we were kept very well abreast of the situation, and so we were able to, you know, get ahead of it and do some things. So I do want to encourage everyone to remain vigilant, though. Hopefully things will work out the way we anticipate them working out, but we will definitely keep everyone abreast of the situation, and so we are always available to you. So, you know, and we've heard from you. So continue the good work, and we appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Castillo?
Parents, this school belongs to you all. It belongs to our kids. Real quick and simple. You will do everything legally to make and keep this. We are number one. Our kids are number one. And let's keep it that way.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Thank you. Well, we have a short motion on the floor, and it's second. I think we've read it. Besides, it's being taped, and they'll get it done, and so we're good. I don't have to say it again, Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hand, please. It is unanimous. Okay. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to use Mrs. Rice's skills as far as English and reading, so I'm going to try to read this resolution to you. Resolution opposing annexation and detachment of Los Fresnos Consolidated Independent School District territory. That's the headline. The State of Texas, County of Cameron. Whereas, without consultation with the Los Fresnos Consolidated School District, Los Fresnos CISD, or the district, Brownsville Independent School District, BISD, or neighboring district, posted an agenda item for its December 11, 2018 board meeting with stated discussion, consideration, and possible action for approval of resolution requesting that the legislators through Senator Eddie Lucio and Alex Dominguez make the limits of BISD match the city limits of Brownsville, and that the area of Cameron County south of Port of Brownsville up to the Gulf become part of BISD territory as well. And whereas the BISD Board of Trustees at its December 11, 2018 board meeting unanimously voted to adopt a board resolution directing the superintendent to work with the state legislators and surrounding districts superintendents whose boundaries overlap the city of Brownsville so that we can discuss feasibility plan to either exchange or collapse boundaries to better serve Brownsville students. Whereas, if a forced taking of district territory is allowed, 3 school district territories will be affected, including Los Fresnos CISD. And whereas the boundaries of the Los Fresnos CISD have existed for decades prior to the city of Brownsville annexation of the Los Fresnos territory that remains in the city limits of Brownsville, and whereas families have intentionally purchased homes in the city limits of Brownsville because their land was located within Los Fresnos CISD territories, and whereas as a result of forced taking of Los Fresnos CISD territory, the district will be stripped of all title to property, assets, and debt in the consolidated district would vest in consolidated district, including real property located within the city limits, and whereas Los Fresnos CISD took on bonded indebtedness to provide facilities and campuses in order to accommodate growth of the new development in district territory located within the city limits of Brownsville, and whereas the Texas legislation previously adopted laws in 1995 that provide for a detachment and annexation of territory in Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code, and whereas the current laws found in Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code provide for annexation and detachment of school district territory, but only after petitions filed by a majority of registered voters of the territory in question or by the surface owners of the taxable property in the territory or through collaboration between the neighboring districts, and only with approval of all elected board of trustees of affected territory, and whereas none of the requirements outlined in Texas Education Code Section 13.051 or 13.231 have been met by the neighboring school district to allow for any legal detachment or annexation of Los Fresnos CISD, and whereas Los Fresnos CISD has been recognized as an educational leader in the state of Texas, with board members elected as the 1999 and 2010 Outstanding School Board of Trustees. Los Fresnos CISD has continuously shown that the district provides a quality and exceptional educational experience that has been recognized at both the state and national levels. This includes accolades such as Los Fresnos CISD received an A rating from the Texas Education Agency in 2018, a rating earned by only 12% of the districts in the state. Los Fresnos CISD has received the post-secondary readiness distinction every year since the measure was implemented in Texas. The district is one of only 5 districts in the entire state to achieve the post-secondary readiness distinction for 5 consecutive years. Los Fresnos CISD has sustained a steady number of AP scholars throughout the years and was awarded the Gaston Caperton Inspiration Award for increasing the percentage of economically disadvantaged students who participate in rigorous coursework. Los Fresnos CISD has no academically unacceptable schools. Los Fresnos CISD has consistently increased completion rates and decreased dropout rates. Los Fresnos CISD presently has 2 national blue ribbon schools. Los Fresnos CISD has consistently maintained some of the highest state accountability scores in both the region and the state. Whereas the district's vision to provide innovative teaching methods and create a district-wide culture where students can select and pursue career pathways and develop the needed skills to prepare them for post-secondary education, and the world of work would be compromised by the legislation the district of real property, students, and resources. And whereas such proposed legislation evidences no consideration as to the impact or well-being of the resources, citizens, parents, and education of the students of the district, and whereas the resounding consensus of parents and students in the territories in question appear to object to any detachment and annexation of Los Fresnos property. Whereas any such legislation of this nature would set a precedent to strip districts of territory, and whereas numerous other school districts throughout the state also have territory that was annexed by cities that have school districts, and these districts could suffer similar unwarranted and unprecedented taking of district property and resources if such legislation was adopted. And whereas the Board of Trustees, on the behalf of its students, employees, community members, and stakeholders, on behalf of its taxpayers and citizens, must vehemently oppose any such attempt by neighboring school districts to force the taking of district territory. Therefore, it be resolved that the Los Fresnos CISD Board of Trustees, on behalf of the Los Fresnos CISD School District, its students and parents object and oppose Brownsville ISD attempt to secure any legislative action that will circumvent Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code and would redraw Los Fresnos CISD School District attendance zones and property, and to prevent a taking of Los Fresnos CISD territory that was purchased and improved by the district through taxpayers' dollars as a result of bonds approved by the citizens. Chapter 13 of the Texas Education Code has set up legal means to detach and annex territory. Be it resolved, the Los Fresnos CISD authorizes the superintendent to engage state legislators, including Senator Lucio and Representative Dominguez, to lodge the district's opposition, and be it resolved that the student or his designee is authorized to take such action on behalf of the Board of Trustees to object, nullify, and any such proposed legislation or attempt to take Los Fresnos CISD territory. Be it further resolved that after receiving community input, the Board of Trustees has directed the superintendent to convey that the Board of Trustees on behalf of the district have no desire to engage in conversations or negotiations that would result in detachment or annexation of Los Fresnos CISD territory. Signed, and we'll sign it and date it. Now, y'all want me to read that again? I think we're there. We're gonna make a stand, and with all y'all's help, and like Mr. Trevino says, you still need to be vigilant. We still need to, talk to the people that we need to talk to, and I think we're going to get there. Announcements, Mr. Sala, Dr. Sala. Oh, you wanted to say something. My bad.
No bad. I really do want to say something.
Go ahead, sir.
It's out of our public schools where the greatness of the nation comes from. There have been many important decisions made in this boardroom, but I think this is a hallmark moment for the community of Los Fresnos. In everything that we do, we stand together. The things that are the brand that is recognized across the state for Los Fresnos CISD is synonymous for excellence. And that is only possible because the community, a board, administration, and staff work together with a single vision for student success, because each of us understands what is at stake. We know that we are raising children together, that we are preparing the next generation, those who will fill the positions that we hold today and those who will stand up in their communities. We educate the whole child. If we are passionate about this action, it is because we give blood, sweat, and tears to what we do. And our teachers deserve peace of mind throughout the holidays. And moving forward, or maybe putting down our pencils to spend holiday time with reconnecting with family. But we will remain vigilant. It's what our students deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. That was good. Any announcements, sir?
Mr. Garza, members of the board, we will suspend normal operations when the bell rings at the end of the instructional day tomorrow, and we will resume on the 7th. Some of us come back to work on the 7th to refreshed and recommitted to our district's mission. Those are all the announcements that we have.
Thank you. Anybody have any announcements, anything they want? Before I adjourn, I know that only 5 people talked, so if any of y'all, some of us are going to stay back, maybe Dr. Salazar, maybe some more members, at least I'll be here if you want to say something to me, that if you have some, concerns or if you want to say something, we're going to stay back. Other than that, it's 8:19 and we're adjourned.